This video is going to deal with something called integer addition. Most people know what the word addition means. Some people aren't quite sure what integers are. Integers mean that they're negative numbers and positive numbers, but they won't be like negative and positive decimals or fractions, just your whole numbers. So like if we were coming up from negative infinity, it would be like -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, then we jump to 0, 1, 2, and it goes up to positive infinity. So none of the little decimals and fractions in between those numbers, just these guys. I think the best analogy that I like to use when I teach this is to think of batteries. Because we can have positively charged batteries or negative, or like there's a positive end to a battery and a negative end to a battery. So if we have a little battery like this, and it's facing this way, and we have another little battery that's facing like this, they're facing the same way, they're both facing the positive direction. This here, we could say, would be like 3 plus 4. They're right next to each other, they're just going to be added together. They're facing the same direction, so you just add them together. An opposite way of that is if you have the batteries facing this way. I know I'm a great artist. This time they're facing the negative direction. So this one could be like, I'm just making these numbers up. -6, say that battery had a charge, and this battery had a -10. They're facing the same way as well. They're both facing in a negative direction. They're not fighting each other, and they're both going to send their current in the same direction. So it would be -6 plus -10. You just add them, and they're together their charge is a -16. Up here in this example, the charge is facing in a positive direction. It's combining their charges together for 7. Down here, the negative direction is just being combined. They're not fighting each other. That's just a -16. So when the signs are the same, simply add the numbers. And give your answer the same sign it had. Give your answer the same sign as the original numbers. Alright, most people get that pretty good. So that people don't like as much. Alright, so here we have a battery that's facing in the positive direction. We'll say that has a charge of 8. And now we're going to say we have a battery facing in the opposite direction, and we'll say that it's -3. So we can kind of think of it as we're sending a current of 8 this way, and we're sending a current of 3 this way. They're going to fight each other. So we definitely won't add the numbers together. If they're fighting, they're not going to combine and be all happy and work itself out. They're going to fight. So you just want to figure out what the difference is. So you want to take the difference between the numbers. So take the difference between the numbers. Alright, so we have a number of an 8 going one way, we have a number of a 3, and the difference is going to equal 5. That's not always the final answer, though, because we have to decide if the 5 is going to be positive or if the 5 is going to be negative. So we look back at the batteries. The 8 is the bigger number, and the 8 was kind of winning out, right? But it's facing in a positive direction. It's a positive 8. So 8 plus a -3, when they fight it out, this guy is going to win. He's positive, but he's going to win because he's bigger than the 3. So you subtract the two numbers. Just think of it as, don't think of subtracting 8 minus -3. Just take the difference between 8 and 3. That gives you 5. And then say which battery won. It's going to be the positive battery because it's a bigger value. So you can put a +5. I don't think anyone's ever marked people wrong for that. Let's try another one. So let's say that we just see something like this. -11 plus 4. Alright, because that's how you're going to see it. You're not going to see batteries drawn. So if you think of it this way, we have a battery going this way. That's the -11. We have a battery going this way, and that one's +4. Alright, so kind of what your brain needs to think about is, alright, what is the difference between 11 and 4? Takes longer to write it out, sorry. Alright, that's the first thing you want to think about. Because the signs are different, you want to think, what's the difference between 11 and 4? We know it's 7. And now you need to think about which one is winning. Like Charlie Sheen, right? I'm winning. All right, so which one's winning? Well, we have a negative 11 and a positive 4. This guy's a bigger value. 11 beats out 4 any day of the week. So we know that the answer, because this guy wins, the answer is going to have to be negative. So the answer is going to be negative 7. Negative 11 plus 4 has to be negative 7. All right, so these two things that I wrote down that you need to think about, those occur when the signs are different. When adding numbers with different signs. We'll do a couple more. Okay. So let's say we have a negative 6, and we're going to add a positive 10. All right, so I won't draw the batteries this time. So we notice right away that we're adding numbers with different signs. So what is the difference between 6 and 10? And the difference is 4. And then we'd say, all right, which one's going to win? Is the 10 going to win or is the 6 going to win? This guy's the winner. He's positive. So the answer to this problem has to be a positive 4. All right, let's try another one. Let's say we have a negative 13 and we're adding a positive, let's say 6. Okay, we're adding two numbers with different signs. The first thing we want to think about is what is the difference between 13 and 6. And the difference between those two is 7. And then to decide whether it's going to be a positive 7 or a negative 7, we look back here. The bigger number is 13. It's negative, so the answer has to take a negative sign. Alright, because that charge is a little bit stronger. It's going to win out. Alright, I'm going to write down 2 or 3 this time, see how you do it. If you want to give it a shot, I would write down these problems and then come back and, well, hit pause and then do them and come back and watch and see if you got them right. Let's kick it up a notch and let's use a little bit of some bigger numbers. So let's say negative 45 plus negative 29. Let's try negative 42, positive 55, plus 55, and one more. Let's do 43 plus, and I can put this in parentheses if I want. It doesn't change the problem at all. I should have probably mentioned that earlier. Like having this, it doesn't make any difference. I think, honestly, it's kind of goofy to say, but I feel like sometimes that's done to intimidate you. But maybe for some people it's not intimidating. Maybe it makes it feel really clear. But just know that you can have the parentheses or not. It doesn't matter. This is an addition problem, so the parentheses don't change anything. Okay, so if you want to hit pause and give them a shot, go ahead. Okay, if you didn't hit pause or you're just listening, we look at problem number 1. We have a negative added to a negative. Because they are the same sign, we are just going to add those two numbers together. 9 and 5, that's 14, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my answer is a 74, but I have to remember that because they were both negative to begin with, my answer has to be negative. Alright, problem number 2. I notice I have a negative and I have a positive number, so that means I need to find the difference between 55 and 42. So 55, 42, that's going to give me a 3. So my difference is 13. And I have to decide if it's a positive 13 or a negative 13. This guy here is going to win out. He's positive, so my answer will be positive 13. My last one, once again, I am also adding two opposite signs. So I need to find the difference between 43 and 28. I'm going to borrow. 13 take away 8 gives me 5. 3 take away 2 gives me 1. I need to figure out whether my 15 is positive or negative. Is 43 bigger than 28? Yes, it is, and this is positive, so my answer is also going to be positive. Alright, I'm going to do one more slide with a try. Let's see, how about we do, what are we on, number 4? Let's do negative 60 plus, and just to get you used to it, I'm going to put in parentheses. Doesn't change a thing. Number 5, 27 plus negative 56. And the last one, let's do negative 54 plus negative 41. Alright, give them a whirl if you want, but hit pause first. To do these answers out, same as before. Number 4, they're both negative numbers. I'm just going to combine them. I actually probably could have done that in my head. But you just add them together, realize that both numbers were negative, so your answer must be negative. Second problem, number 5, they're fighting each other. I got a negative and a positive trying to be added. Alright, so they're going to fight, so that means I got to find out what the difference is. And of course I have to borrow. 16 take away 7 gives me 9, 4 take away 2 gives me 2. And then I need to go back and say which number was bigger, which one's going to win out. And in this case my negative number is bigger, so my answer has to be negative. And problem number 6, I have two numbers with the same sign, so I am just going to simply combine those numbers by adding them up. And then because both of my original numbers were negative, my answer has to be negative. Alright, I have a video coming up next, well, I don't know if it's next to you, but another one just if you're interested in how to do subtraction for integers. To me that's even kind of throws some quirks in there. Look for that video because I can help you with that too. Hope this helped. Thank you.